So good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of EXTV. I'm James Baird, and we're doing it a little different tonight. Andre's not with us at the moment, but me and James Thomas, the national coach of the Trinidad Tobago women's team, will be talking about the Finland-Russia game. But first, we're talking about the Turkey-Wales game, which obviously James, hailing from Wales, it's great to have him. So we're going to dive right in. The game obviously finished 2-0 to Wales. Ramsey scoring in the 42nd minute and Roberts scoring in 95 minutes. So James, what did you think about this game? I know it's your homeland. I know you're excited. Talk us through what you thought of the game.
Yeah, there were times I think I was a little concerned. I think Wales over the last two games have looked a little bit vulnerable at the back. I think particularly crosses. I think that was kind of highlighted a little bit today. So there were moments in the game when I was a little bit concerned, but I think the big players that Wales have, which, obviously Bale, Ramsey, they kind of stepped up and really made a difference for us in the end. I think obviously Aaron Ramsey's movements in and around the half spaces and finding himself in those spaces in and around the penalty area. He's always dangerous, very difficult to mark and to play against. And obviously he had two or three good chances before he actually put one in the back of the net. But yeah, I think Ramsey for me was probably the standout today, even though obviously Bale had a huge contribution as he usually does when he puts on that Welsh shirt.
Yeah, it was a great performance. I mean, exactly what you say. I agree with the sentiments. I mean, were you a little surprised by Turkey? I mean, obviously this was kind of a must-win game for them.
Yeah, I think they've been disappointing in both games, haven't they? They didn't really turn up in the Italian game from the little bits that I saw of it, which they were obviously disappointing. And again, I kind of expected more from them today. I think you kind of see that and I say we as a Welshman, you could kind of see that probably after about 60 minutes or so, they started to lose their heads a little bit, and the discipline went as well. And you could see then they were almost giving up, and it was game over. So, I think we needed that second goal. That second goal was certainly the comforter that we needed. But yeah, I think once you could see they started to lose their heads, I think it was a formality what the result was going to turn out into.
So what did you think of this penalty miss from Bale? I mean, I thought it was shocking, but let me know what you think as a proud Welshman.
It was a shocker. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm a little bit speechless by it, if I'm honest. And I was at the time. I think there was a little bit of a delay, and I didn't really see it because the camera that we saw, you didn't really see what the delay was over. I'm presuming that would have been kind of Turkey players talking to the referee or whatever they may have been doing from a gamesmanship point of view. But you could see the camera was on Bale for quite a long time before he took it, and he just didn't look right. I don't know what it was, but there was something about his mannerisms where you thought, I'm not too sure about this. And I think in commentary they were talking about, I think it's been 12 games that he hasn't scored in a Welsh shirt now. And yeah, I wasn't completely confident when we had it. And I was maybe hoping Ramsey would have been the one to step up, because I think he has got that coolness about him a little bit more. But yeah, the penalty itself, I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest. I'm not sure if it's landed yet either.
I was just going to say, I heard it landed half an hour ago in Wales, so yeah. But I mean, these things happen in football. I mean, I do believe there was a huge delay, in my opinion. I mean, and I think it's one thing because of VAR and these things. I don't know if it's the referee maybe just double checking, triple checking, but there was, to me, a huge amount of time. But at the end of the day, I think he had a great performance. I mean, I think taking away the penalty, his movement, for a guy that's not played a whole bunch of football domestically, I think he looked like he was getting back to himself, and he probably put himself in the shot window in a sense.
Yeah, I think so. And look, he's a talent, and he's a fit boy, and he's one of these players that he might not do anything for 35 minutes, but then all of a sudden something happens. And there were a couple of things he did when there was that spell right at the end of the game where he was actually trying to waste time, it looked like, in the corner flag, and the next thing he was dancing into the penalty area, and he then almost did the same thing from the other side of the field 2 minutes later. And he just has these waves within games where he becomes unplayable. And maybe 2 or 3 years ago, or certainly in the last Euros in 2016, he would do that for longer spells in games. I think now he's probably changed a little bit, and those bursts that you're seeing from him are a little bit smaller, but they're still so effective. And he can change the game and change the flow of the game very, very quickly.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I saw those 2 runs from the corner. I mean, it was wonderful. I mean, but I think that pass for me that he made for the goal was just phenomenal. The way the weight of the pass, and obviously the finish from Ramsey was wonderful. But I mean, how far do you think this Wales team can go? I mean, to me, they have so many players. I mean, even to the goalkeeper, who I wasn't too familiar with at the start, he's having a great tournament. So how far do you think they can go?
They're such a difficult team to judge. And, you know, again, I'm thinking back to 2016. We've qualified for a major tournament since, I don't know when it was, we last qualified before that. And it was, let's just enjoy it and let's just see what the occasion takes us, because there was no expectations on us. And, you know, we ended up and we just kept winning. And it was, where is this going to take us? And the unity within the group and the togetherness of the group. You know, I've come from the Football Association of Wales, and I know the importance of that family environment and that family atmosphere, and people, whether it's staff, whether it's players, whether it's the media team, whether it's support staff, you'd all run through walls for each other. And so I think to answer your question, it's very difficult to put what round are they gonna go to, or how far can they go, because I think the team spirit is such a strong one, and I think it's very, very unique. You know, they use the slogan "Together Stronger" that they've used for a couple of years, and it's the same with the women's teams that I've worked with across with Wales as well. And it's such that family environment, and it's that fighting spirit that they have, which I don't know. It's difficult to tell. I think it'll depend on obviously what happens with the game on Sunday. I believe it's Italy, the Italian game, where that finishes up, who we end up with next. If I'm perfectly honest, because of obviously the move and everything, I haven't really taken too much notice of where the brackets for the teams will lead them after the group stages. But I think if you can keep Bale and Ramsey on the field as much as you possibly can, you know, there are some it's always those 2 spoken about, but you know, there are others that are very important as well. You know, I thought Dan James, again, in glimpses, is very, very good. His pace is frightening, and I think there's times where he's undefendable. You can't stop him because he's just so quick. His delivery sometimes let him down at the end of it, but they are slowly getting better, I think. Kiefer Moore is obviously a very important player, and I think he's surprising a lot of people in this tournament so far. Joe Allen, of course, and I think that's the key. If you can keep the spine of that team fit, I think it gives us a good chance. And you know, I certainly wouldn't bet against us hitting the quarterfinals. But again, you don't know what's going to get pulled out of the hat and where you end up going. And I think the other thing you have to consider with Wales is they're at the far end of Europe. They're a long, long way from where everybody else is playing, and a lot of teams, Italy included, have been quite fortunate that they're playing all their games at home. So you know, Wales have kind of really drawn the short end of the stick there by having to go to Azerbaijan, which, you know, I think it's several time differences different to what they would have prepped on, and then the time difference now is going to change when they get to Italy again, and it may only be a couple of hours, but all these things and the time spent in the air, all these things will take a toll on the players. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't rule out a quarterfinals for the Welsh team again this year. Hopefully further, but you know, quarters I think is probably a good shout.
Yeah, some fantastic points. I mean, I love it. I mean, to be honest, I hope Scotland can take a leaf out of the Welsh book, and obviously on the game against England. But I mean, I think coming back to Wales, I mean, some great performances. And if anybody's asking, who is this guy on the show tonight? Obviously, James Thomas is the new Trinidad and Tobago national women's coach. So you will get to see him a lot more. And as I say, he knows what he's talking about. As Andre says sometimes about myself, you know, we talk football, we know football, and some great analysis there. So we'll look forward to seeing how far Wales can get. And but James, let me just ask you this. I don't know if you did, but did you get a chance of taking any of the other games? Because I know time's tight tonight, but what about those?
I saw a little bit of the Italian game, and I think they look fantastic. You know, they've kind of surprised me a little bit. I wasn't sure what to expect. You know, you're always going to get a good Italian team, but you know, these are very attack minded. I think they're very good on a transition as well. And you know, they could have scored multiple goals in the parts that I saw from that game this afternoon. They could score quite a few. So that's going to be a big game. It's going to be a tough challenge for Wales going to Rome. I believe the game is on the weekend. And I think the Italians have looked fantastic. Other than that, I haven't seen an awful lot of the tournament because of obviously work commitments and things that I have with, coming up with the women's team. But, I'll certainly do my best to try and watch games that involve in Wales or their groups anyway, at least. And, but yeah, I thought the Italians have looked incredible in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I agree with you. And as I say, we really appreciate having you. As I say, I know time's tight, and the people that don't know, I mean, obviously, football takes a lot of concentration. We actually have to plan to watch these games, so as coaches, we can actually analyse them properly. So, as I say, we appreciate having James on the show with us. As I say, I know he has to nip out very shortly, but again, we thank you, and we hope to have you on a few more shows.
Yeah, no problem at all. Anytime. More than happy to jump on whenever you want me to.
Thanks again. And so we will nip for a quick break, and we will be back with myself and Andre to talk about, as I say, the Italy-Switzerland game and obviously the Finland-Russia game. So we will be back after a short break.
Good evening, everyone. It's Jamie Ward. Just reflecting on the Wales and Turkey game. Great start for Wales. They obviously go 1-0 up. The combination of Ramsey and Bale works again. It's been so influential for them over the last few years, so that's why they're 2 of the top players in the world. Going forward, obviously, Gareth Bale misses that penalty, you start to worry for Wales. So it's a tough old game to keep your mind in. Always knew Turkey was going to put some more pressure on the boys at the back in the Wales defence and the keeper. They showed how strong they were. Great save from Danny Ward to keep him in the game in the last 10 minutes. And then, as we've seen, Gareth Bale, bit of magic at the end, rolls one back to the 6-yard box, and Roberts taps it in. So, great day for Wales. They're carrying on from the last Euros, just flying through the games, winning games and breaking teams down. Special shout for Daniel James. I thought he carried the team up the pitch well, so it was he'd done the dirty work, got the ball, got the team up the pitch and created chances in the final third. Big shout out to James and everyone at EXTV. Good luck with everything that you're doing, and I'll be back soon. Hopefully Friday, England versus Scotland. See if we can get one over James.
Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes with Shaka Hislop, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.